just when you thought it couldn't get worse. I feel like I'm going to be making a Netflix original video here. We've got a Section 8 slumlord that tries to pimp the struggling tenants of a building because they are slow to pay or can't pay and partial to the pandemic. And so that's the story I'm going to be getting into. I tell you, this whole world's de-evolving into old things, isn't it? I'm always surprised by how crazy things can get. So, I'm going to give a viewer advisory. For many of you that know me, I can be very professional, but I don't mind trading a little street language and a few profanities when required to convey the emotional intensity of a video. And more than likely, this is going to get me charged up a bit while I make this video. So, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development is charging a Springfield-area rental company and owner with housing discrimination for allegedly subjecting tenant to sexual harassment. In other words, he is the pimp. When you can't pay rent, then you're going to be, well, he's going to prostitute you, basically. You need to come down to the master unit, except these prostitutes and tenants didn't get paid. They were paying their rent. Now, these are ordinary people. They're not really prostitutes, right? So you can't charge sex for rent. So Second Bell Trust, which own multiple single-family rental properties in the Springfield area, and the owner and property manager, Jimmie Bell, the pimp, decided that he's going to be doing what he does, and Mr. Bell is charged with violating the Fair Housing Act. I can think about a lot of acts he's actually violating, not including laws, not just the Fair Housing Act. The charge is on behalf of the tenant, her children, and her nephew. Let's keep in mind we're only discussing one person, because clearly this lady is not the only person this has happened to. And notice that the charge is on behalf of that of her, the children, and her nephew as well. The Fair Housing Act prohibits sexual harassment of tenants and other forms of housing discrimination based on race, sex, including sexual orientation, gender identity, color, national origin, disability, religion, and family status. But it also protects you from being prostituted while you rent, okay? Nobody wants to sign a lease and turn tricks. And that's what Mr. Jimmie Bell decided he wanted to do. Despite having all that money and all those properties, he thought he was going to run a whorehouse, basically. And when you were $5 short, you had to go see Mr. Bell in his apartment. That's how that worked out. So, HUD charge says the tenant said that Mr. Bell made repeated unwelcome sexual comments, pressured her to provide sexual favors, and touched her inappropriately. I can think he did a lot more than that. The tenant lived in one of Bell's properties from 2017 to 2019, and when the tenant fell behind on rent payments, Bell allegedly said there are ways we can work this out. So, there's a payment plan and there's a payment plan, and I just don't see prostitution as the way to get it done. So beyond that, he said there's a way to work this out and asked, what can we do to handle this? On another occasion, Mr. Bell allegedly grabbed the tenant's breast and put his hands down on her pants. I'd say that he was trying to cash the rent check immediately, because this woman was assaulted, essentially raped, and then potentially trafficked out of her own apartment. The charge also alleged that Mr. Bell made unwelcome sexual advances towards 11 other women. So he has turned the whole building into a whorehouse. If you're one fucking penny short, you have got to turn a trick for Mr. Bell. He does not accept late payments. Late payments means you've got to come and see him in his apartment. He don't do late payments. He don't do missed rent. He don't want no rental relief funds. He wants to relieve himself. So it's got nuts, right? So he's been subjected to tenants to unwelcome sexual advances and sexual harassment, and it's clearly an outrageous and clear violation of the law, both state and federal. So HUD's Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Housing and Equal Opportunity said today the charges they've levied sends a very clear message. Well, look, I don't even think they need to levy anything. I think what he's doing would have sent a message, no matter what part, time, and place in history there was, that this type of behavior is way beyond what's acceptable. So, guys, I'm going to introduce one of my cats real quick because she's an old girl. She's around 24. And this morning she's howling at my feet, and then we'll go on and do the rest of the videos. So this is Grandma Gracie. That's if I can get her. She's a quick mover, so. Come on, Gracie. So most of you have never seen Grandma Gracie, but this is her. She wants to say hello. She's my co-host. Now, the reason I had to let her down real quick is because when you got an older cat like that, they can shred you very quickly. As you can see, my chair, which is a beautiful $450 chair that has been shredded by a number of my cats. When them little toes touch pleather or leather, they pop holes. Okay, let's get back to that video. So, HUD went on to say its mission statement, HUD is committed to taking action against landlords whose behavior violates the Fair Housing Act. The case will be heard by the United States Administrative Law Judge unless any party to change the elected parts of the case in federal court and district court. And also, HUD wants you to know that if you believe you've experienced any discrimination, you may file a complaint at HUD's Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity at 800-669-9777 or 800-927-9275, and that's TTY, okay, for those that are visually or cannot hear properly, okay? So the moral of the story here is, I've dealt with a lot of people, and we deal with hundreds of landlords every year. This kind of behavior is some of the most egregious imaginable. You're already taking a person in a very desperate situation, and you're taking full advantage. In my opinion, this is definitely trafficking a person. This has less to do with being a prostitute of things. And then this man clearly needs what I have often referenced as Section 9, not Section 8. We all know it's Section 8. That man needs Section 9, which is 3 hots and a cot in a federal prison. That's where they can provide him free rent, free food, and an ass whooping. Okay? Because this kind of behavior is about as wild as you can get. I hope that the judge sees fit to throw him under the bus and then put it in reverse and start again. All right, guys, so I'm going to do a brief introduction for myself. My name is Jay. I am the owner of Section8Consultant.com. We work with clients with a wide range of issues, everything from navigating the system to getting housing vouchers and working with those that need affordable housing, low-income housing. So if you guys are struggling to navigate that system, or you're tired of waiting on a wait list that's going to last 10 to 15 years, you can reach out to our office. We'll put some information in the bottom of the description. We work with about 1,000 clients a year. We've got about 24 years this summer working with clients, and our success rate's around 93 to 94%. Not all cases yield a result, but anybody preaching a perfect reputation, I'd have to question that, okay? I've enjoyed making this video. I hope Mr. Bell is sitting in a federal prison, and I hope that all the 11 women, and including the 12 that were violated in order to pay back rent, have got some type of justice. I hope their attorneys take that case to the civil court and sue the hell out of this man so they can become not just the renter but the owner of the building, because this is absolutely unacceptable. All right, guys, I've enjoyed making the video, though the subject matter was sad. If you want to join us Sunday, that's when I do live videos to allow you an opportunity to do Q&A live with me. It's usually in the morning around 11 a.m. Central Standard Texas time. However, I've been known to make them in the afternoon around 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, or better known as Texas time, okay? All right, guys, enjoy your morning.